Hey friends! It's time for another Friday Fun Fact, where I'll provide you with a little bit of information that you might not have known before. This week, we're not only celebrating the death of the trash fire that was 2020, but we're also learning about the modern calendar and why it's the way that it is. So let's begin with this. What is a calendar? According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, it is any system of dividing time into neat units and arranging them into a set order. The word calendar comes from the Latin word calendarium, meaning account book, coming from the word calende, the first day of the month of the Roman Republican calendar. This was when the future market days, feasts, and other civic happenings were proclaimed. So, how did we get where we are now? It's basically a long line of trial and error. So let's start with the Roman Republican calendar, predating the Christian era. It's said to be founded by Romulus, who founded Rome, but it was most likely an evolution from the Greek calendar, which in turn was derived from the Babylonian calendar. However, there was a big problem with calendars at this point, and it had to do with how long people thought the year was. We know now that the time required for the Earth to travel once around the Sun is about 365 1/4 days. That fraction is why we have leap years. We add an extra day every leap year, which is usually every 4 years. This keeps the calendar year in step with the actual seasons, since the Earth tends to wibble-wobble a bit on its axis. The ancient Romans, on the other hand, didn't do any of that. They counted the year as only 304 days and kind of ignored the other 61. They originally had a 10-month system, some of which may sound familiar. Martius, Aprilis, Maius, Junius, Quintilis, Sextilis, September, October, November, and December. Later on, a ruler named Numa Pompilius added January as the first month and February as the last month, but later after that, February was moved between January and what we now call March. By the time of Julius Caesar, the Roman Republican calendar was a full 3 months ahead of the solar calendar. Caesar, advised by the astronomer Diogenes and inspired by the Egyptian solar calendar, initiated a reform in 46 BC to correct these inaccuracies. What we now call the Julian calendar moved the calendar year to 365 1/4 days and maintained the cycle of leap years. But this calendar wasn't exact either. Even though the day count was right, the exact time was off by just 11 minutes. But that meant that by the mid-1500s, the dates of the seasons, the solstices and equinoxes, had shifted about 10 days. The slight 11-minute inaccuracy caused calendar dates to regress almost 1 day per century. This was, obviously, a problem, for a lot of reasons, but it was the Catholic Church who actually made the change. This is because the vernal equinox in the spring is used to determine the date of Easter, which is a major feast day for those in the Christian faith. Gregory VIII put out a papal bull, basically a presidential executive order, in February of 1582, saying that the day after the feast of St. Francis, on October 5th, would automatically become October 15th, thus omitting the 10-day shift. This reform established the Gregorian calendar, which is largely what the world uses today. I used the Encyclopedia Britannica for this topic, so here are the search terms I used. For time's sake, I kept this to just the history of the current Gregorian calendar, but I recognize that this makes this video pretty Eurocentric. So if you'd like a wider view of this topic, here are some books to check out. They're all in the library system. Like and subscribe for more Friday Fun Facts, and I'll see you next week.